This week on The Splash, the snowshoes for you, the mind of an artist, and get your groceries and go. The Splash is a production of Civic Center TV. We're a news magazine that covers everything from local news to feature stories, also that we can bring you the latest from the greater West Bloomfield area. And now, let's dive into The Splash. Welcome to The Splash, I'm Jake Kustasz. This winter weather can make it difficult to enjoy the outdoors and explore the beautiful wildlife areas of West Bloomfield. I traveled outside to bring us this next story. My shoes, wet. My socks, also wet. The bottoms of my pants, you guessed it, they're wet. If only there was some way I could explore the beautiful wilderness of West Bloomfield by walking on top of the snow and not through it.
At West Bloomfield Parks, we actually have some designated naturalist guided snowshoe programs, so you can get a little extra help. We'll help you put them on. You'll learn a lot more that way as far as the history of snowshoes. And then when we get out on the trail with the snowshoes, you also get a little nature talk on what we see out there, like finding animal tracks in the snow. So we do snowshoe hikes that are naturalist guided, and those are pre-registered. But then we also offer just a snowshoe rental program in general. So anyone can come to our Recreation Activity Center during our open times and rent a pair of snowshoes, and then we'll show them where the trail is at, and then they go out on their own. This is a great way for you to access trails you might not be able to. Putting on snowshoes gives you a new feel too, so it's a new adventure out there on our trails, and we're always encouraging families to get outside, and the more you go outside, the more you appreciate and care for nature, and our main goal is to teach conservation, and so just getting people out there in different ways, snowshoes is another really unique way to get outside.
And after you head outside, you need to learn how to use your snowshoes and how to use them properly.
Well, we're here outside of our Recreation Activity Center at the trailhead of our Civic Center trails, and we got Katy here with us, one of our other park naturalists, to help us demonstrate our snowshoe programs and rentals. So please remember that we have to have at least 3 inches of snow or more on our trails in order to rent snowshoes. That's for your safety in case it's icy out, and also for the snowshoe equipment, we want to make sure that it stays well and maintained, and you can really crack and break snowshoes if you use it on a flat surface or not very deep snow. So we require 3 inches or more. So you can give us a call, or you can check our website at wbparks.org to see if you are able to rent that day and what the conditions are out on our trail. But today we've got perfect conditions, so we're going to show you how you come out and put on the snowshoes. The ball of your foot's going to line up with the first strap, and then we have the heel strap back here. We're going to connect. Clips in. Okay, so the top one, pull tight here. Make sure that the metal prong sticks through on both, and then you're going to connect it under here to secure it. There's a black hook. So 2 metal hooks, 2 black hooks, and your toes are all done. Then the back one, you're going to turn your foot a little bit, Kathy, so they can see things. And then you're going to pull the back like this. And then there will be a black hook here as well to make sure that you don't have any extra slack hanging out. You can do it one time, but if there's still too much, you can twist it and do it again. Now, if you can lift your foot up for me, Kathy, you'll see that the bindings that are by the toe secure your foot that way, but the back is not put down. That's because we want it to be kind of like a little flip-flop action so that you have some mobility and that you are easier to move around that way. Now she's ready, and off she goes.
Wow. I'm just so glad that I can now explore the nature of our community without getting my shoes, socks, and bottoms of my pants wet. Reporting for The Splash, I'm Jake Kustasz. You can find more information at our website at civiccentertv.com/snowshoe rental. Next on the show, we stop by the Jewish Community Center and get to hear directly from the artists whose work filled the walls of the Janus Carrot Gallery. Elizabeth Schnatz has the story.
Recently, the Jewish Community Center hosted local artists at their art gallery. We were able to talk to the artists and have them express what their work both means to them and the community.
I've worked with Mike Ross, the curator of the exhibit, on a couple exhibitions before. I also work as a curator, so I actually met him as a curator, and he was exhibiting as an artist in a few of the shows that I had put together, and built a good relationship with him over the last 3-4 years doing that. So he approached me about 6 months, maybe a little longer ago, about doing a show where he specifically wanted to highlight Detroit painters. There's a big inclination towards like mass mixed media shows, and I think for this exhibition he really wanted to air more towards like what painters in Detroit were doing. Obviously it didn't stay exclusively that, and I think the supplementary work, the sculpture work he included, really added a lot to the two-dimensional work. I think especially this exhibition, the artists in this show are definitely talking about heavily loaded content. The work is not, just like superfluous, pretty design and expression of those ideas. And I think that Mike did a really wonderful job, like putting this all together, giving very different people a platform to talk about the work that they're doing. I'm very inspired by the Dutch and Italian masters, specifically from the Baroque era. After like the post-Renaissance, essentially the Baroque came in and was the first era really to give volition back to the body. For me, I take a lot of elements stylistically and palette-wise from the Dutch and Italian masters, and then add more of a contemporary context in terms of the views of women in society today. So my work is definitely about the way that the femme body is represented, not just in an art historical context, but even in a contemporary context. It's still largely objectified, used, infantilized. The series is called Call Me By My Name, and it's about the way that we have removed that personhood from women in a lot of ways, in the way that we use their bodies versus letting women be women, and how they're represented, how they're silenced. It's about the subversive ways that women learn to communicate, like through body language or through expression, like using hands. That whole series, that's very, very heavy into the destructive elements. You'll see a lot more of that because that's where I was at that point in my life, but also like the main content of that body of work.
I'm a painter, and because of this, I really lean hard towards color and what the image can do. And I paint with figures. You know, I really like the figurative painting because I think humanity is like sort of at the crux. I mean, I really like art that's very personal. Mm-hmm. I feel like with the way that our society is operating, I think art would be better if we leaned more into our humanity as opposed to technology or social something or other, you know. So this painting is called Both Immigrant and Not. A lot of my work lately has been dealing with identity themes, in particular Native Americanness and how it fits into modern Northern culture. As an artist, I feel like oftentimes when I have to show the gallerist or the curator into showing something they want to show or something that they think would sell. Mm-hmm. But as an artist, I feel like what I want to say doesn't align with that. I like the freedom here to show what I feel like. That's what I really want out of my art. I want to be understood and I want to be heard.
It is important that the community will continue to support local artists and understand the beauty and message that the work expresses. This is Elizabeth Shantz reporting for The Splash.
For more, you can visit civiccentertv.com/JCGTalk. Later in the show, groceries to go and a Dynamo interview with one of our local leaders.
Don't go away. You're watching The Splash on Civic Center TV.
Civic Center TV is your home for everything Greater West Bloomfield. Here you can tune into community programming such as our weekly news magazine show, The Splash, as well as coverage of local events and meetings in Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, and West Bloomfield. You can also watch all of your local programming online anytime at civiccentertv.com. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
And now, back to The Splash on Civic Center TV.
Welcome back to The Splash. I'm Jake Kustasz. When trying to eat healthy, the first step is to make healthy decisions at the grocery store. Jenna Skelsey stops by Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital to get the story.
Hey guys, we're here at the Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital where expert chefs are coming in and sharing their tips and tricks on how to eat healthy on a budget. The class is called One Grocery Run and Done. Let's find out why.
We're doing a class here called One and Done, and that means that you take one bag of groceries and you get multiple meals out of that with the easiest prep that we could come up with. And we have our chefs here that are going to make some delicious, healthy recipes. One of them is a take on lasagna using some different types of noodles and lots of vegetables. And another one is actually using a pasta sauce on zucchini noodles.
As easy as it is to make a variety of dishes from the same ingredients, it does require a bit of planning to see what you might be missing in your diet.
I would say anywhere you can add more vegetables and whole fruits in your diet, that's what you want to focus your energies on. And it does take a little bit of planning, but definitely can be done. That we just want to show you can eat healthy on a budget. And also not only a budget for money, but also for your time, because we're all so busy.
The Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital offers a wide range of cooking classes regularly to suit the needs of the community.
Well, we host cooking classes probably 2 to 3 times a month here in our demonstration kitchen. And we have all different topics, just ranging from like tonight's topic, One Grocery Run and Done, to crock pots, Instapots, and air fryers, which is coming up in October. We also have classes around diabetes, heart health, really a host of topics, all designed to help keep people healthy and teach them healthy habits.
With the public's health in mind, the hospital offers resources that go beyond saving your wallet.
We do host a lot of community events here at the hospital. We are a community center for health and well-being. Our demonstration kitchen is just one place that we host these events. For instance, coming up next week, we have an emergency preparedness expo. Later this fall, we have a senior health and wellness expo, all hosted here at the hospital. That's just a couple of the things we have. But we have so many things, so I really encourage people to check out our website, henryford.com/West Bloomfield. You can learn all about our classes and events and programs and our resources.
All right, guys, what I learned in class today was to ditch the pasta for the zucchini noodles. Reporting for The Splash, I'm Jenna Skalski.
To know more, you can visit civiccentertv.com/groceryrun. Now it's time for the Civic Center TV event update, where we provide you with upcoming events going on in our community. For a look at additional events, visit civiccentertv.com/events. Dispose of prescription drugs with Operation Medicine Cabinet, happening year-round in West Bloomfield, Keego Harbor, and Orchard Lake, and this project takes place at the police departments of the 3 communities. Disposing of drugs is completely anonymous, open 24/7 in West Bloomfield, Tuesdays and Thursdays 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Keego Harbor, and Monday through Friday 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. in Orchard Lake. For more info, visit oakgov.com or call your local police. Hear what's happening in our community. March 12th, join the leaders and other members of our area for the 2020 State of the Communities. This event will be taking place 7 p.m. at Abbott Middle School, and you'll be able to hear about what's happening in our community and what our plans are for the future. Hosted by Brooke Allen, and we hope to see you there. Do your hobbies include discovering, playing, and learning? If so, visit Public Library for the Discover, Play, and Learn events happening weekdays from 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. During this time, children and adults can interact with each other and participate in a variety of activities that promote learning and social skills for children. No registration is needed, and for more info, visit westbloomfieldlibrary.com. It's time to turn loose because it's the birthday for Dr. Seuss. On Monday, March 2, the entire family and you can join in on the fun with no cost due. Finger plays and rhymes, 10 to 10:45 is the time. If you show up, your visit is sure to be divine. If you really want to go and there's more you want to know, go to the library's website for additional info. Have your Saturdays been less than spectacular? Then stop by the West Bloomfield Public Library for Spectacular Saturdays. Every Saturday, you and your whole family can enjoy stories, music, and dancing from 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. There's no need to register, and for more info, visit westbloomfieldlibrary.org. And that's it for this week's highlights. You can find more events online at civiccentertv.com/events and see everything going on in the greater West Bloomfield area. We're going to take a short break, but when we return, I'll sit down with Township Clerk Debbie Binder.
Don't go away. You're watching The Splash on Civic Center TV.
You want it, you got it. Civic Center TV has been bringing you live coverage of your local municipal meetings for years. Now you can catch a replay of those meetings the following day at 1 o'clock and again on Saturdays and Sundays at 9 a.m. If that's not enough, you can also visit civiccentertv.com/meetings to view a whole list of on-demand Township Board meetings and keep up to date on the most recent developments in your local government. Giving you more, it's Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
And now, back to The Splash on Civic Center TV.
Welcome back to The Splash. I'm joined this week by Debbie Binder, Township Clerk and co-host of All Access. Debbie, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me with you today.
So first, the thing on everyone's mind, what's coming up, is elections.
Yes.
So what's going on in West Bloomfield regarding the upcoming elections?
Well, it's going to be a very busy 2020. We have 4 elections right now. We have the March 10th presidential primary that we're right in the midst of right now. Absentee ballots are available, but the clerk's office is hopping with the March 10th presidential primary. We have a May 5th school district election. We do have 7 school districts in West Bloomfield Township, so we're conducting elections for those school districts. This one will be specifically for Waterford and Bloomfield Hills schools. That's on May 5th. Then in August, on August 4th, we have the state primary, which is for all of the other partisan issues other than the presidential election. And then in November, we have the state general election, and we anticipate it to be just a big election year this year.
So it sounds like it's going to be a really busy year all around. Do you guys need people to work these elections? What's that process like?
Well, we know that we're going to possibly double, but at least increase 50% in our absent voter counting board, which is counting the absentee ballots.
Okay.
So we know we're going to need more people. We have, people retiring every year, creating vacancies, but we know that the number of ballots we're going to be processing, we need an increased number of people working. So we are recruiting and we are looking for additional election workers.
And you said this is something that would look good on a college resume?
It's a tremendous thing.
Can do it?
Yeah, tremendous. We've had a few students, and I even get to write a recommendation for them when they go on to their graduate program or their undergraduate program, whatever it is they're going for. It's a great opportunity for somebody to have it on their college app or on their resume. It really is. It looks fabulous that you got involved with your community and you worked elections.
So what kind of stuff will these people be doing? Is in like how much time per week, and is there pay involved for these positions?
They do get paid.
Okay.
It's mainly election day, and then there's 2 2-hour trainings that they have to attend. So they come to the training. The election work, they get to practice once, twice, maybe 3 times a year, and they're expected to do a task that requires precision and accuracy. So we rely on training to compensate for what they don't get in experience. So the training is an important part of their preparation. Election day is a long day. I tell people all the time it's from 6 a.m. till probably somewhere between 9 and midnight. They get 2 1-hour breaks. Everyone complains it's a long day, and they all come back. So they enjoy it. They become a little precinct family. But it is a long day. There are 2 choices, 2 tracks people can choose. They can work in the precincts at a polling location, or they can work for the Absent Voter Counting Board, and that's where they count all of the absentee ballots. The AV Counting Board is a little bit more sedentary. The one issue with that is you cannot have your phone. It is a sequestered board. They may not have a phone or any other communication outside for the day.
With this year's absentee ballots, there's new legislation that passed. They're going to need a lot more people for these ballots, right?
We have a combination of things going on. We have, Proposal 3 of 2018 had allowed for no reason absentee voting. So we know that we're going to see a shift in voter habits going toward absentee voting. In addition to that, we've had a steady increase in the registered voters in West Bloomfield Township, as well as an increase in newly registered each year. And specifically in a large election year, we have a spike in a large number of increase in newly registered voters. So we know with all of those things together and that shift in voter habits, we're looking at record numbers. And to give you an idea what numbers we're looking at, Jake, in our largest election to date, in November of 2012, we processed 15,660 absentee ballots. We're looking with very realistic numbers to forecast between 21,000 and 31,000 absentee ballots on election day.
Wow. So it's going to get really busy this year.
It's going to be very busy.
So is this something, for people who are maybe voting absentee for the first time, like myself, is there any specific rules or like
laws that we should know about going into the election?
Well, yeah, there's some specifics with absentee voting, and what I would say before everybody is listening to this and said, I missed that, call your clerk's office, because we can always give you the details. We can mail absentee ballots to a voter up till 4 p.m. the Friday before the election. Now, we do not mail an absentee ballot unless we've received an absentee ballot application. And that can be requested from the clerk's office, can be downloaded from the state website or the township's website, sent in digitally to the clerk's office with your signature, but we don't process an absentee ballot until we receive that. Now, the important thing that we need to get across to everybody is while we can take that application digitally, the ballot has to have time to physically be mailed to the absentee voter and mailed back to town hall. So, or mailed or brought back to town hall. So it does need to allow time. Now, back to earlier, they can request that by mail up till 4 p.m. on the Friday before. We are open Saturday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every Saturday prior to an election. From 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., actually on the Saturday before, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., they may come to town hall, request an absentee ballot, and they may take that with them and vote it at home and bring it back by Tuesday at 8 p.m. On Monday, they may also come to town hall from 8 to 4 to request an absentee ballot. But if they come between 8 and 4 on Monday, they have to vote that absentee ballot there at town hall. They may not leave town hall with that absentee ballot.
Okay. And what about for people who already voted? So say they already voted for a candidate in primary, the Democratic Party is very crowded, and their candidate drops out.
We've actually had quite a bit of that going on this week because that is happening. It's something that you can do in every election, but we're seeing that it's more prevalent right now as you see candidates dropping out of the primary. In any election, people can spoil the ballot they were issued, the absentee ballot they were issued, up to 4 p.m. the Monday before.
Okay.
They cannot spoil it on election day. Once it's in the absent voter counting board, they can't spoil it.
So is there what kind of people would you recommend vote absentee, or who do you think this would be most valuable to?
Do you know what I know that some of the push now is to get people to know that they can vote at home and that they can vote with their information in front of them. One thing they don't know is they could also come to town hall, get a sample ballot that they could fill out like it was an absentee ballot and bring it to with them on election day and vote in the precincts. So what I have historically found is voters are passionate whichever way they like to vote. If they like to vote absentee, they like to vote absentee. If they like to vote in the polls, they like that energy in the polls. They want, and I'm a poll voter. I like to leave with my sticker. That being said, this year I know how crowded it's going to be, and absentee voting sounds like it may be the way to do it this year.
Before we wrap up, do you want to plug where people in West Bloomfield, where they can go to get their absentee ballots, what times they can receive all that again?
Yep, they can call. They can call the clerk's office if there's any questions. But they can, if they come to the clerk's office, they can bring they can actually don't even have to bring an application. They can fill out an application right there. They will leave with their ballot in hand.
Okay.
Alternatively, they could send in their application to vote, and then we will send them an absentee ballot. One thing that people don't realize is when they do come to the window, if they have a spouse or a child or someone they're trying to get an absentee ballot for, we may only hand that ballot to the voter themselves or put it in the mail to the registered address. So we cannot give somebody someone else's ballot. So if they do come to town hall, and we do have this all the time, we'll issue the one ballot, we'll send the other one to the person's home. But if we receive that absentee ballot application in the mail, or it just gets, digitally, we will get that absentee ballot in the mail to the voter. We do have, what makes it convenient for people too, is what's called the permanent absent voter list. And that's a list of people that we have that we send an application every election that they're eligible to vote in. It automatically gets sent to their registered address. And then when we receive that application back, then we send an absentee ballot. We can't send that absentee ballot if we don't get that application back. And the best way to explain that is if you think that we sent an absentee ballot to a home in perpetuity, people would move, people would pass away, and that ballot would keep going. So unless we get that application returned with a signature on it, we don't send an absentee ballot.
Sense.
But that permanent absent voter list is extremely helpful because that means you're going to get that application in the mail each time there's an election that you're eligible to vote in, and then you send that back and we send you your absentee ballot by mail.
Awesome.
So.
Well, once again, we've been joined by Debbie Binder. Next on the show, we learn about preparing for college on this week's segment of Parenting on the Go.
Hello and
Welcome to Parenting on the Go. I'm Brooke Allen, and joining me today is Jillian Gismondi. Jillian is a licensed professional counselor at Child and Family Solutions in Farmington Hills. So Jillian, when do teenagers begin the transition to college? I think it might be surprising, the answer.
It is. It actually starts around junior year. So fall of junior year is when parents really should start talking about that transition with their teen.
In high school?
Yes.
So why so early?
Because there's lots of preparation, emotional, academic, and above all, finding your school and finding the best fit for your teen.
So because it starts so early and that preparation, it's not just about finding the right school, but it's also emotional.
Absolutely. If a teen is set emotionally on the right path, so has that bond with their family and is able to be vulnerable and share with them any fears or anxieties that they may have about school, that will set them up for success because they can openly share it with their family.
Okay, so tell me some of the stresses and some of the anxiety kids might feel going through this process.
So some kids may feel some grief that their childhood is coming to an end. They're going to be moving away from home. They have to find the right school for them. There are some relationships with peers that could be ending, and that brings up some grief and loss.
So how do parents help kids deal with that?
I think they normalize their feelings, and while normalizing it, also showing love and support and saying that we've all been here, and we realize this is a challenge for you, but we'll always be here to love and support you through this time.
Okay, so what's interesting though is that the parents may be feeling the same thing.
Yes.
So how do you help your kids through that when you're feeling it too?
I think the most important thing is the parents being able to identify their own feelings and their own experience and realize, wow, my life is really changing too. My little birdie is flying the nest.
Right.
And now I can really focus on me and my own interests and my own hobbies, but still show them love and support, but in a different role. That relationship has shifted for the parent and the teen.
But it's all about being open.
Yes, open and being able to express your feelings to your child.
So out of junior year into senior year, the anxiety may be building.
Correct, yes.
So as it gets closer to that time of the child graduating and picking a school, and the excitement builds too, I imagine.
Absolutely, the excitement's there, and like you said, even senior year is when it's really ramping up.
Right.
You know, this is my last year in high school. I'm making this really cool transition. This is so exciting. Yet there could be that complex feeling of fear or grief related to it.
Thank you, Jillian. We appreciate you being here.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us on this edition of Parenting on the Go. For more helpful parenting tips, you can visit the West Bloomfield Youth Assistance website at wbyouthassistance.org.
For more episodes of Parenting on the Go, visit civiccentertv.com/parenting-to-go. And now it's time for our final segment, Person of the Week, where we celebrate the people in our community who are inspiring and providing towards others. This week's recipient is Tanner Thornton from West Bloomfield High School. Tanner is part of the West Bloomfield High School's unified basketball team. This team is made up of students from all backgrounds so they can all play and all have competitive athletic experiences. The unified team lets players compete against one another, and everyone on the court gets to have fun. Tanner is a leader on the team and likes to get his fellow teammates fired up for all their exciting games. This dedication to the sport of basketball and helping his teammates is what makes him our Person of the Week. If you know someone who's making a positive difference, let us know and message us on social media with any and all suggestions, because we want to congratulate and acknowledge those making a difference in our community. And that's it for this week's show. You can watch new episodes anytime online in HD at civiccentertv.com. Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m., Civic Center TV on Comcast 15 and AT&T 99. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Civic Center TV. For all our friends in Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, and West Bloomfield, I'm Jake Kustasz, and thank you for watching The Splash.